We talk about diet whenever we talk with Jan Dougan, who is with the Du Bois County Purdue Extension Office. She is the Extension Educator, and she teaches us all kinds of things about how to eat right. And we're going to talk about protein foods in this edition of WJTS in.form. Jan, welcome to the show.
Thanks, Bill.
Well, Jan, protein, when I think of protein foods, I think of meat. But I'm sure it's more than that.
Well, meat is one of the various types of foods that we can get our protein sources from, but there are other ways that we can get protein. And so we just want to talk a little bit about choosing protein and why it's important to have a variety of protein foods.
Okay, well, let's talk about what is protein good for. It's on your plate.
Yes.
Which section is the protein
And I
section?
did not bring my plate with me today. On our plate, about 1/4 of our plate should be covered with protein. And we should try to get some protein sources throughout the day. Protein builds lean muscle. Protein also helps us, like if we're injured, to help repair our body. So it's good to have some protein, but what we're finding is that a lot of us in America tend to overeat our protein. So as an example, you go out to eat and you order a steak. Mm-hmm. How big a steak are you going to get?
Whatever I'd say normal is, like 8 ounces, I guess?
Probably an 8-ounce portion, which really is larger than what we should have. Okay. When we think about protein and what we need every day, we don't need quite that much. We only need about 5 to 7 ounces of protein each day. And when you think about that, you think about the palm of your hand, and that would be about the size of serving that you should have. So really, when you're getting that 8-ounce steak, you're getting more than what you really need.
But you said 5 to 7 ounces a day?
So not a meal.
Okay, I was thinking a meal.
Right.
Okay, so yeah, big difference.
We really are getting a lot more than we need, but a lot of us are. So we need to be a little bit more conscientious about that and select our protein choices wisely. You know, when you think about stir frying, and you have a lot more vegetables in a stir fry dish, and then a little bit of protein possibly. You know, you might put chicken in it, you might add shrimp to it, you might add beef or pork, or you might even add tofu, which is a source of protein. And tofu is a product that it really takes on the flavor or the taste of whatever you're cooking with it. So if you had it with vegetable stir fry, you know, you really wouldn't taste a whole lot of difference in that, but you would still be getting your source of protein.
Now, so when we say protein, it's not just meat. To me, meat is beef and pork and chicken, I guess. But shrimp, that's, you know, that is a meat. Fish.
Seafood counts as protein source, and you know, we're supposed to get at least 2 servings or 2 meals of seafood throughout the week. So that's another source of your protein. When we think about choosing meat or poultry for our protein, we want to try to select those lean servings rather than the ones that are higher in fat. We also want to try to prepare it in a method so that we reduce the fat rather than adding fat. So in our area, you know, a lot of us are used to frying. So, you know, I'm not going to tell anybody to not ever fry their chicken anymore, but maybe just fry it every now and then and try some alternative methods, maybe grilling or baking or using your slow cooker to prepare your poultry. So, you know, and oftentimes we think of chicken, we need to include turkey and any other kind of poultry that folks might have. But in addition to that, eggs is a great source of protein. So you could have that egg, and we want you to, you know, be aware that eggs are okay to eat. Eggs could be a part of your protein choice. You might not want to eat a lot of eggs if you are at risk for heart disease or if you have any cholesterol issues. But, you know, you can use that from time to time as your source of protein. And let's not forget the beans.
Beans are protein.
Beans are protein.
Beans, nuts.
Beans, nuts, and seeds, but we have to think about the kind of bean that is a better source of protein. Okay. So a green bean is not a good source of protein. It counts as a vegetable. And all beans, you know, count as a vegetable if you want to count them as a vegetable. But there are some beans that are higher in protein, so they're a good protein source. So you might want to think about baked beans. Baked beans are a good source of protein, so that could be a substitute on your plate. Black beans in a salad. Add the black beans and corn and tomatoes and lettuce to make a fiesta type salad, and then you're getting your protein from your black beans. Garbanzo beans would be a good source, and you often see those on a salad bar, so that's a great source of protein. The chickpea, the kidney bean. Oh, chickpeas and garbanzo beans are the same thing.
Are they?
Yes.
Did not know that. I know I like hummus.
Yes, and we
it's the
make
same thing?
hummus. We make hummus from chickpeas or garbanzo beans, and so hummus is a great source of protein. But what you want to do, check that out when you go to the grocery store the next time, Bill, because on one side of the can it says garbanzo beans, and if you turn it around, it says chickpeas.
Okay.
So they
Did
are
not
the
know.
same thing.
Well, let me ask you, when we talk about the protein and getting, I guess, special quantities of it, are we worried about it because of weight gain, or are there other health reasons?
Of getting too much?
Yes.
There's different information available on that, and I know that there are some weight management programs that encourage you to eat a lot more protein, and you know, we kind of go along with the MyPlate guidelines, and the MyPlate guidelines tell us that we need 5 to 7 ounces of protein a day to maintain a healthy body, to maintain a healthy weight. So, you know, and this is for adults who are healthy. If you have a chronic disease of some kind, and you might need some more support from a registered dietitian in planning a program or the foods that you need to eat that are right for you. And we have great dietitians here at Memorial Hospital that you can contact them and set up an appointment and get some help. You know, if you have special needs because of a chronic disease that you have, or a condition that you have that prohibits you, or sometimes medications that we're on. There are different foods we can eat and we can't, or we shouldn't eat a lot of, or we need to eat in specific amounts. So, you know, it's always good to check those things out with your physician or with a registered dietitian.
Do people feel that they need to eat extra protein for muscle buildup? Or is that a misperception on my part?
I mean, they might. Protein does help build muscle. Protein also helps to repair the body. So, you know, every nutrient has a different job in the body. And so that's why on MyPlate we need to eat a variety of foods, and a variety is good. I find that if I have a little bit of protein in the morning, it helps me get through the day, through lunch a little bit better. And then I don't have that stomach growling going on. So, you know, it digests a little bit slower in the body. Nuts and seeds are a great snack if you need a pick-me-up. And those are a great protein source. We have to watch though, because there's a lot of calories in a serving of nuts. So when you think about having a few nuts, we're talking about putting a few in the palm of your hand, and that would be a serving size that would be appropriate for most people, most adults.
And when you're talking about 5 to 7 ounces of protein, so if you're eating a steak with baked beans, you got to count both of those. So that's way more than
they would be both 2 sources of protein, but you know, sometimes we move that into the vegetable group. So we count the beans as that 1/2 of our plate that should be filled with fruits and vegetables, and the protein on the other 1/4 of our plate.
And probably a lot of it gets back to what we've talked about many times, is it has to do with excess. You know, it's okay maybe to eat more steak and baked beans on one meal, but the next day make sure you're doing something along the lines the opposite way.
Right. Cut back or step up your walking routine or your physical activity routine, whatever that is that you want to do. So think small when it comes to meat portions. You know, you can really get the flavor out of a really well cooked piece of meat and eat less and be satisfied.
And you also got to know when to stop.
Yeah.
And get your mind to realize, I've had enough.
Yeah. Yeah. Now, one of the things, you know, a great way to get your protein is through a sandwich and having maybe a deli type sandwich. But we need to be aware that a lot of the deli meats that we choose might be higher in sodium. So we want to check the sodium labels on those to make sure that, you know, we're not getting too much. And then again, our technique of, you know, if you do that for one meal, then watch your sodium intake at another meal. Try to find balance.
If you're worried that you're going to eat too much protein, maybe make sure that you're eating more vegetables and start with that so you fill up a little bit quicker when you get to the meat.
Yeah, that's a great way to do it.
You know, what is it? Half your plate should be vegetables?
Yes, one half should be fruits and vegetables. So what we want people to know is what counts as an ounce of protein foods. 1 ounce of lean meat would count, or lean poultry or seafood. 1 egg would count as 1 ounce. 1/4 cup cooked beans or peas would count as 1 ounce. 1/2 ounce of nuts or seeds, so that's again in the palm of your hand. And 1 tablespoon of peanut butter would count as 1 ounce. So when you look at 5 to 7 ounces of protein, you know, that's how you look at those different foods that are protein foods and how we might add those up throughout the day to get our requirements.
So again, just be conscious of what you're eating.
Yeah, pay attention.
Anything else we need to know about protein?
I think that's probably pretty much covers the protein on our plate.
Because protein is good, just not in excess.
Right.
Okay, Jan, thank you very much for being our guest.
Okay.
We've been talking with Jan Dougan. We've been talking about protein. And you can contact Jan at the Purdue Extension office. She is the Purdue Extension Educator, and she knows a lot about many different things. Use her as a resource of information. Thank you for watching WJTS in.form. We are local people watching local people.